Coach Jay, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining us, making time. I know it's a very busy time, as always. Thank you so much, man. How we feeling here on this Thursday morning?
Good morning. Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. Excited for some more baseball this weekend. Excited for opportunity, right? Here you have a great challenge in the number one team in the country coming into Alec Box, but I think a lot of this is kind of how you frame it. And that would be my first question. Is that how you approach the team with this, right? Like, because make no mistake, while it's going to be very hard, the opportunity, if you pull it off, to juice up things like resume and confidence, it's just a massive, massive opportunity here.
Yeah, for sure. And, late Augie Garrido, one of the best, college baseball coaches of all time, second to Skip Bertman. People talk about baseball as a game of failure, but it's really not. It's a game of opportunity. And it's really good for us to have this on our schedule still. And, when you talk about their record and those types of things and how that could impact, your RPI or positioning, and really looking forward to the weekend. Great team, as you said, but it's here, and that's a good thing, and excited to get after it.
Coach, is that something you bring up to the team, having this moment in front of you and having the opportunity to go get a couple of wins, maybe against the number one team in the country? Like, do you try to bring that moment up to the team?
Yeah, I think they're pretty aware. We were talking after the game briefly on Tuesday, and Tommy White actually, stood up and said something about that. And, the one thing, and you can see it over the last, 9 or 10 games, our players are still very invested. We've fallen short on the baseball execution side a few times, especially during that first half of the conference stretch. But they're motivated, they're invested, they're competitive, and want to continue to play for a long time. And so I haven't really had to. We know we're in playoff baseball. Like Tuesday night's game, it's like, had we lost Tuesday night, it wouldn't have mattered what we did against Texas A&M. I know that's hard for everybody to kind of understand, but if you dump that game at home, it was too steep of a hill with RPI and those types of things. So, I think they're excited. I think good energy at practice yesterday, but it really has for the last couple of weeks, staying engaged and invested and competing, and it's just a matter of playing good enough baseball to win.
Well, and look, it's been a good last couple of weeks. Winners of 6 of 8, couple of SEC series wins now finally notched on the belt. And kind of one of the keys in terms of getting that done has been the performance of Gage Jump. And I really, especially like last weekend, seeing Jump and Holman both really have it on the same weekend together. Is it just a time on task thing? Like, what has led to some of Jump's growth here recently?
Yeah, he's super talented. He probably won't be back because of the draft, but I believe he'd be like a front runner for like SEC Pitcher of the Year next year if he decided to, just because of he's got this year under his belt now. He'd only thrown 14 innings coming in, but the stuff has been good enough to compete in every game, even though he hasn't been his best. But I think getting off to the good start that he had while we were building his pitch count up, I think the beginning of SEC play was a little bit of a challenge, like maybe the first time in his life he'd ever given up any runs, Arkansas and Vanderbilt. And he's worked past that. And he's a great competitor. He's a winner. And excited to have him taking the ball here these last few weeks and continue how he's pitched over the last 3 weeks in league play.
Coach, you have a conversation with your other coaches, like when you have a moment like that, and Gage goes out there and you can tell, like, he's getting past some things. Like, he's figuring out how to pitch in the SEC, or maybe on the other side of things at the plate, like Ashtonlson, what he's doing right now. Like, do you have a conversation with your coaches, hey, he's past that point, whatever that point was where maybe he had a governor on, we were trying to be careful with him, he's past that, let's move along and, like, fully embrace what he is right now?
Yeah, a little bit. I love getting the opportunity to talk to Coach Bertman all the time, around here. And something he always talked about is players like graduating through the pressure barrier.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a real thing at this program, at this place, in this league. And for those guys, I think, with Gage, he needed innings under his belt. with Ashton, has done a very good job, as a freshman. And I think that just speaks to more to him and just his mental strength, his maturity for his age, all of those types of things to be able to be consistent. And he's probably been one of our most, if not our most consistent guy just in terms of taking quality at bats. And that's why he's in there, and we'll continue to stay in there. So we're always talking to try to get them all improved individually to help the greater good of the team. But those are two guys that are playing very good baseball right now.
Coach, normally you are used to being the hunted, right? Yeah, like the team with the target on your back. Last year, y'all basically carry a number one ranking with you the entire year. What does it feel like to kind of be on the other side of that this weekend, and does your messaging change to your team?
Yeah, no, I think for me, it's like we need to figure out how to take good at bats.
Yeah, okay.
we need to keep the big inning off the scoreboard. Eliminating free bases. Filling up the strike zone, play good catch. Don't give them extra opportunity. I think that's where it stands. Like, I don't think that has honestly changed because we're still the champs, and we've gotten everybody's best shot. We're a more important game on anybody's schedule than anybody else. Regardless of being a little lower in the conference standings. So to me, it's about the play. And what I will tell you, like I said, is there has been no lack of motivation.
Mm.
I don't believe for the entire season. I do think we've grown a little bit in these last few weeks, not just in how we've played, but how we've approached everything. And we're going to need to do that, here for the duration of the schedule, because, we're playing another good team next week. And when you play in our league, that's all that's lined up in front of you.
Coach, what's the kind of scouting report on Texas A&M? I know you don't have to wax poetic for 4 or 5 minutes, but what are some of the things to kind of pay attention to when you're facing this Aggies team?
Yeah, really complete. Great offense. Really manage the strike zone well. Don't expand, don't chase out of the zone. They obviously have guys that can hit the ball over the fence throughout the lineup. Very old team, with several transfers in there. And on the pitching side of it, very left-handed. I'd say, in my opinion, their 4 best pitchers are left-handed. 2 starters and a couple guys out of the bullpen. And just have a good playing with a lot of confidence. That would be the thing that I would say more than anything else. They're good. They know they're good, and they play a very confident brand of baseball.
And maybe nobody playing with more confidence right now than Braden Montgomery when you look leading the SEC in terms of conference-only play in ribbies. I think he's right near the lead in terms of home runs. When you have a single player, and like you said, it's really top to bottom in a lot of ways with this lineup. When you have somebody like Montgomery who's playing so strong right now, how individual do you get with your game planning with your pitchers in terms of preparing for a guy like that?
Yeah, very, very, and that's guy by guy, regardless of if they're the best guy in the lineup or the 9th guy in the lineup, and you want to be aware where he's at, and they have a good hitter in front of him, and they have a couple old hitters that can take good at bats with runners on base behind them. So he's positioned well for success, and has had a great season, and what's helped him have a great season is, the guys around him are pretty good too. It's just like, Dylan was better with Tommy. Tommy was better with Dylan. Jacob Berry was better with Dylan. It's that kind of dynamic with a couple of those guys, on that middle of the order there. And once you get past them, it's a lot like us, last year where you have Braden Jobert sitting in the 7 hole. Well, he can hurt you. You know what I mean? It's kind of got that feel to it.
Well, look, man, it's a full send sort of weekend, right? Nothing to lose, everything to gain. I can't wait to lock in, and here's to hoping there's some Alec Box magic on deck. Coach, thank you so much for joining us again today, making time for us every single week, and best of luck this weekend.